Scotland is a key contest in this election. Let's take a look at why. Since devolution, when Scotland got its own parliament, Scottish politics plays out in the Parliament in Holyrood and in the Westminster Parliament, where there are 59 Scottish MPs. The Scottish Nationalist Party, the SNP, have won the largest amount of support in Scotland in both types of elections for over a decade now. The SNP looked almost insurmountable for a while, but that itself was a very big change. There wasn't a devolved parliament until 1999 in which the SNP could try to demonstrate its ability to govern. And Labour had been by far the dominant political party in Scotland since the 1970s. And this election now sees Labour's fight back happening in Scotland. And that could help Labour to win a majority or a much bigger one. This graph shows the seats Labour's won in different elections, the line they have to cross to get a majority, and then in the light colour, the Scottish MPs. You can see in 1997 and in 2001, they would have got a majority anyway. But by 2005, they needed those Scottish MPs to get over the line. And you can see in recent elections how badly Labour's been doing in Scotland. So why has the SNP been so successful? Well, one reason is that Labour has been struggling across the UK. But the other is to do specifically with the independence question in Scotland. The SNP succeeded after the independence referendum in 2014 in winning a huge amount of support amongst those voters in Scotland who supported Scottish independence. They voted yes. You can see these yes voters in 2010 in that general election split between the parties. By 2015, they surged behind the SNP. No voters, on the other hand, they were split between the other parties, making it difficult for Labour. So could Labour win in Scotland now? Well, it's very significant that Labour are now recovering in Scotland, as you can see in this polling since 2022. One reason for that is that Labour are doing better everywhere, as the Conservative government in Westminster has really struggled. But the other is that the SNP have had their own scandals and difficulties too. For example, the SNP got into trouble over how they were using their money. Shortly after that, Nicola Sturgeon stepped down as First Minister. Now we can see here that whereas Scottish voters liked their government in yellow, they really like their government much more than the Westminster government, but by 2024, in May, they don't like either government very much at all. And that is the perfect scenario for the Labour Party to try to make gains. But things are still very close. There are lots of very tight races, lots of tactical voting still happening around independence, and Labour's only just managed to get that very small lead in the opinion polls. So Scotland is on a knife edge now, and it really matters in this election.